Okay, it's time to show you CSS Battle. Let's see what we've got. Okay. Right, let's start with... No, let's have nested. Okay, now then. That main background is actually this colour. Then let's give us some margins. Let's throw on diff so that we can see what we're doing. It's going to be 18, 16, might be 17. Let's go 17. 42, and then we want to bring in the right hand side as well, so let's go 82, 17, 82 is too much, 72 looks good. Okay, then with this, what I'm actually going to do is do a linear gradient, and we will make it this colour for, let's have a look what we got. We'll call that 25, 245, so 220, and then this colour for the rest. This is just so that what we're going to do is we're going to mask off the other bits, hopefully. So let's do a radial gradient at now then, let's try 50%, 100%, make it yellow, transparent and yellow. The yellow wants to be a radius of 220, 280, 60, 30 pixels. Transparent, how wide is that pillar? 280, 320, so that's 40 pixels, so let's go 40 pixels, and then that, let's make it a circle. Let's add in a colour stop or two. Don't need that one. Then let's just shift that so that it is 100 pixels in. And then let's shift it up by 240 pixels, so 0 minus 240 pixels. That's too far. 220, 200, 180. 180 is good. it 140, 100 pixels wide. Or 40 pixels wide. No, 120 pixels wide. What have we got? That's not quite what I want. Let's try making it 180 pixels wide and then make this minus 40 pixels. No, that is not going to do what I want. So the problem here is that we really don't want it to do that. So actually, if we start this off with transparent for 70 pixels maybe, then we can change this to be transparent, then this color, and then if we make this transparent again, we also put a 0 in there. That'll be at the bottom of the yeah. And then we can make this 160. I need that to be smaller than that. Why is that not overlapping as I expect it to? Let's get rid of that for a second. $150, $140, $130, $120, $110, 100 pixels. I think we're off to the left a little bit. So just make that minus 20, no, 10, 60. Let's just make it a positive number. 20, 30, 40, 50. And then we've got that bit there, which is a problem. But can we... Yes. Yeah, if what we do is actually make that... No. Maybe. No, I can't get rid of that extra. We'll make another radial gradient very similar. But this one we are going to do something slightly weird with. So we need the transparent up to 70 pixels, and then we want that yellow color. Now we want this to be that's fun. 120. 220 pixels. We also want this to be no repeat. 240, 250. How's that got such a straight line there? What I actually want is that outer to match up with. Let's just temporarily make this red, because then we'll be able to see what's going on. Oh, that doesn't want to be transparent. Well, it does. What I need is the outer for the whole thing to be a bit wider. That should be going on top. Let's just shift it back to 160. That's exactly the wrong curve. So let's go. Whoop. That needs to be 180. Then we want this to be the previous curve, not that one. So and we need it to be wider by 40 pixels. Oh, actually, let's just make that 100%. No, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That will give me that shape, and then we want to shift it 170, 180, 190. I think that's going to be 200 dead. Yep, that'll be the shape that I am looking for. Let's get rid of the red and make it yellow. Okay, that looks like the top. Now all we need is a linear gradient underneath, well, over the top of those. So let's go linear gradient at 90 degrees. Make it yellow for 80 pixels, and then transparent 20 pixels. Make it a repeating linear gradient. Then change that to 120 pixels. Add a 0 in there. Add a 0 in there. Make it. Are those anywhere near right? Okay, shift it 20 pixels backwards. No, maybe 40 pixels backwards. 60, 80, 80 is too much. 60 is not right. Let's try 70, no, 50. And that's not 120. Maybe that's 140. 30. That is 120. Is it not 80 pixels between them? 120. No, it's only 60 pixels between them, which would then make that 100 pixels. And then we're too far to the left. Y. That will get me all of the bits. We want to shift it down by 70 pixels. We don't want repeat X, we do want repeat X. Now, why has that last line not come in? Why does it work if I put repeat Y? That doesn't make sense. Repeat X is where we want that. What happens if I shift it 30 pixels to 60, 70? Then we lose the beginning. Awesome. How about if I just make it a standard linear gradient, then shift it in 30, 40, 50, 60. We wanted 70 pixels off on one side. Now then, make it 100 pixels wide. That will get us there. Do I need the repeat X? Yes, I probably do need the repeat X, because otherwise it will repeat Y as well. Okay, what have we got? That looks good. Let's hit submit. Now, is there a better way we could do that? Could we do the bottoms with one conic gradient rather than two linears? Probably could. That gets the yellow through the transparency there, so that would all be fine. Okay, let's try one conic gradient for the bottoms. Let's minify this first and do a full submit, which means we can go ding ding ding. Okay. That's good. Now then, we'll get all that back. Now then, if we, because we're layering this on top, if we change that to the yellow for the middles, and also change this to the yellows, okay, that gets us that. We can get rid of this linear grade. We set this height to 70 pixels and repeat only in X. Okay, maybe not. Can I get away with let's make that transparent. Just like that. Okay, now if we do, let's get rid of that linear gradient for now. Let's do a tonic gradient, which will be 25%, and then, oh no, that's the wrong colour. That one should have been 50%, and there should be a 0 there. Get rid of that, and we do that, and then transparent for the rest. We put a comma in there. We do an at. No, then we're going to want half of one of those, so 8, 60 is 20, so 40 pixels, and downwards, call that 25, 245, 220 pixels. See, that gets us some of the way there. Then we make it, let's do 0, 0 first, and then make it 100 pixels wide, 80 pixels wide, 80 pixels wide. No, got to be 100 pixels wide, which means that the 40's out. Let's make that a 60. Those then look about the right size. And then we shift this off minus 40 pixels. Too much. 30. 30 is good. We shift it down by 70 pixels, and we only repeat in the X direction. Let's take 70 pixels off of 220, gives us 150. We have those little feet. Let's see how that goes. Okay, that is still 100%, that's good. Is there any way that we could do the top so that it doesn't have the extra bit? I don't think so. Okay, so let's now crunch some of these down into smaller things, like that's 50 VH, no VW. That'll be 60 VH, 140 is 35. Hang on, 100 would be 25, and 4, 5, so 25. It's got to be 30 VW. That looks good. 180 is going to be 60 VH. 100 is 25 VW. Still 25 VW. 150 is 50 VH. Okay. Check that we are still good. Yes. can that be transparent? Yes it can, that saves another couple of characters. That has to be that yellow. Okay, now we get rid of that brace. It's about the only thing that I can get rid of there. Minify, submit. It's not the best score, but can I think of another way of doing this? Not really. Could use 3 paragraph elements and move one out of scope and use no clipping just to get those arches, but is that really going to be less than a radial gradient with a radial gradient to cover it up? I don't think so. Let's see, shall we? That conic gradient I'm quite happy with. And this whole box is the body background. So what happens if we do, let's just temporarily put in 3 P's. Now then, let's close that and then do P, background red for now. Width is going to be 100 pixels. Height is going to be 70. And we want some margins on them. Mostly we want a margin top of -100 and then a left of -40. Do that for bottom and right. This is going to go horribly wrong. Let's actually make the bottom -100. Let's just give them a solid border, see what we've got working here. That should be -70, 2, 4, 5. What that's doing is it's still shifting things in the wrong place. Then the first one wants to be -4. Oh no, 0 from the top. This one wants to be -4. -50 would be about right. Let's just make that body. Oh, this is going to get very messy very quickly. Let's do border radius of 0, 50%, 50%. Exactly the wrong way round. And also that wants to be 70 pixels. 70 pixels, and there and there. Let's get rid of the border. See, that doesn't fit that arch. Maybe that should be 60 pixels. That still doesn't fit that arch. 120? Let's try 120 with a 70 and a 70. Question is that the half? I think that's the right curve. That certainly looks like the right curve. Let's give it a 10 down from the top. No. 8. That is not the right. Well, it might be the right curve. If I got it the wrong width. It's 140 and I then need to go further this way. Okay, that looks better. And if we do overflow hidden, does that then? That does not hide what I'm looking to hide. The body is just expanding. That's problematic. Let's try on here. Overflow hidden. Yeah, we're not going to get that way. Let's try closing that. Stop this from being nested. Yeah, I don't think we can do that way. We don't think we can do that way. So that makes this all a lot harder. So let's just get rid of all of this. Let's just get one paragraph in the right place to start off with. Let's get rid of this bit. We will keep hold of that conic gradient somewhere. So let's put that down the bottom and comment it out so that we can use it later. Let's get rid of that. Let's change that to an ampersand. Let's get rid of that and that. Close that. I've got no idea how you unindent in this. That's not like that. Right, tab does that. Okay, cool. Shift tab. Right, now let's mess with some margins to get that first one in the right place to start off with. Now then, from the top, let's make that 28. That'll probably be right once I shove it into place on this bit. Oh, no. What? Okay, that's the left. We want that to be minus 20. Minus 30 would be about right. And then make that 24. Looks quite good. Okay. Get rid of that bit. Right, we need 3 of these. Now then, so right hand side. Oh, that's the left hand side. We want these to go back up, which will be 70, 80, 90. 90 gets them spot on there. Then this is, let's use that as a bar. Left, too far. 70. Now why has it gone down a little bit? -92, -93, -94. We need to go left 2 pixels, 1 pixel. Okay, we'll call that about right. P plus P plus P. 71142. No, that's not far enough. 170. Okay. Okay, whatever. Now then, border, solid. No. What do we want? Top. Solid. And is that going to be the whole bit that I want? So 0 pixels, 10 pixels, 10 pixels. So that is border width. Border color red. No. Yellow. Why are we missing border radius? Border. Let's try adding a border style solid. Okay, that one's wrong because that is the top, so that wants to be 10 pixels. And then nope, that one wants to stay there. That one wants to go. And then we actually want to make that 40 pixels, 40 pixels, 40 pixels. Box sizing, border box should get me to very nearly good. Then what are we going to do? because really we only want half that first one showing. We also want the colours to be right, but we'll deal with that in a second. We'll change that to this, and we will change this background to nothing. Then we've got, they are all slightly out, very slightly. So let's mess with some numbers. This is from the left. I think that might want to be 31. No, 32. No. How about 29? 29 looks good. And these other curves, 72, 70, no, 72, 73 is worse. Okay, let's put that at 72. Let's just check this one, 173, no. Okay, that is 172. Right, now how are we going to cut that first P in half? That is a good question. That is a good question. Okay, we'll worry about that in a minute. On this background, however, we'll put that conic gradient, and then we'll mess with some numbers on that. Because, yeah, that's clearly out. The problem is, I think that's going to repeat too often if I get this rule. So let's not move it that way. Let's move it 10, 20 pixels that way. 18 maybe. 19. Ew. Move that down. That first one is messy. That's got to be 28. There we go. There's the first one back in where it should be. The problem is we've got the now we've got this chunk that we need to get rid of, and some, oh god, how high is this? 190 pixels. 180. Needs moving down another 10 pixels. So what happens if I did that? No. Let's do 90 and then 190. 52, 53, 54, 52, 50. Okay. That's a completely different number. So 155 pixels maybe. And then I think we're just too high, so 185. Okay, and then we've still got 2 bits to cover up, so this is definitely not going to be any better. There is no way. There's far too much code here. see, now to hide the conic gradient we can use a linear gradient that goes yellow for 50 pixels, transparent. Let's just do it as that to start off with and see where we are. Oh, 90 degrees. See, that will get rid of the first one, but we haven't cut through the first paragraph on that. Could we could use a radial gradient on a box for the background, because then we could hide half of it with a linear gradient. But let's go this to 250 pixels and then yellow again. 280, 290. Oh, so 360 pixels. That gets rid of that one and that one. Now we just need to cut down here somehow. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to manage that. I'm not entirely convinced that these are lined up, but let's make that PA. Then we'll make A have border none, background radial gradient, shove this at, we only want a quarter of a circle, so we'll shove it at 0 and 50%, no, 0, 100%. We then make it transparent for, I think I made that 30 pixels, and then this blue to 70 pixels, and then transparent. Let's put the colour stop in there, and let's make it a circle. It's interesting. Why has that only gone round that far? Why is the top of that not? But anyway, we'll shift it 70 pixels in, and then we actually have something that looks somewhere close. I don't think that's going to be 100%, so that's what I thought. Now then, I think these might be up too far. Now if I move, when I move it down, okay, now then, minus 95. Okay, that looks more promising. There we go, we've got 100% match. It's a lot more work involved in this. Now, could we make this easier by using this radial gradient. I think we probably could. So if we do var offset, that defaults to 0, and then in A just set offset to 70 pixels. Then if we take all of these bits out, take this, put it there, we're going to have a problem because we need that to be 50% by default. So let's make that -C for center and make that 50% by default, which will put it in the middle, and that should then sort one problem out. And then on here we can set that to 0, and that looks good. So we've got a lot of variables now. Right, and then is there anything that we can crunch down? I don't think so. Well, 360 pixels, yes, of course there is. So that will be 90 VW. 155, I don't think we can, because 120 would be divisible by 3 and 35 sure as fuck isn't. So not there. 185, 150, well, then we've got the same problem with the 35, so yeah, not there neither. Okay, we can get rid of that border none, we can get rid of that semicolon, we can get rid of this semicolon, this isn't pretty, but it does work. So let's minify that. That's going to be a worse score, but it's another way of doing it. There we go. So let's go to my much better score. Let's just check if there is anything else we can take out on here. No, I think that's as good as we're going to get. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.